Welcome back. This is Mr. Marshall for Year 9 Maths. We're looking at Algebra Misconceptions. In this unit, we will be looking at the misconceptions that students have with algebra and working out how to correct them or notice them before we make the mistakes. As we go through, you need to write down the learning intentions and success criteria in your exercise book. As we go through the slides, you will need to pause the slides to take notes and then answer questions that you have found at the end of each lesson in your books. So today we are looking at distributive laws with two brackets. We are learning to apply the distributive laws to expand two sets of brackets today, and we call this eliminating the brackets in an algebraic expression. This is a step up from yesterday where we only did one bracket. And I am successful when I can expand brackets for an expression that requires simplifying, and I can expand the binomial expressions. And for students who have a challenge, they can try expanding a perfect square rule, of which there are some in our examples, and also expanding difference of two square rules, and again we have some of those questions when we're practicing. So I will remind you about the FOIL method. This is where we go first, outer, last and inner. So we multiply A by C, they're the first two terms in each bracket, to get AC. A times D is the outer, BC is our inner, and BLD is our last one because they're the last in each. This is one way of doing the distributive law. Another way is what's called the grid method. Some students might find this a little bit easier. This is where we set up a grid for our expression. So the way we do this is we break up these brackets into their terms. So we have 4x and 2, so 4x and 2 there, 2x and 3, 2x and minus 3 because that's a minus 3 there. We then multiply these columns and rows together. So 2x times 4x is 8x squared. 4x times minus 3 is minus 12x. 2 times 2x is 4, 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. We then can rewrite the expression by just going through these and just rewriting them and simplify it down. This is called the grid method. So we multiply through those cells and then we rewrite it and simplify. So here we have our examples. We have x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 5. And we have x minus 4 multiplied by x plus 7. So here's my thinking, here's my workings to show my teacher what I am doing. So we will use the distributive laws to expand those brackets. So we're using the FOIL method here, x times x, x times 5, 3 times x, 3 times 5, and I've rewritten it here. So x times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x, 3 times x, 3x, 3 times 5 is 15, and then we simplify it by grouping those like terms together. Now remember, we can group 5x and 3 together because they're both x's, but we can't group it with this squared, and we can't group it with just the 15 because they're just units. And this is where students made mistakes. They would group everything together, or they'd group this x squared with these, and they're separate items. And again, for the second question, still using the FOIL method, so I've got my arrows drawn in there. I've expanded it out, so x times x is x squared, x times 7 is plus 7x. Now this is minus 4 times x, and students would forget this minus is here. Minus 4 times x becomes minus 4x, and minus 4 times 7 becomes minus 28. And again, we simplify. 7x and minus 4x is just 3x. So here we have some more complicated examples. We have 2x minus 1 and 6x minus 6. So we've got minuses in both of these brackets. And over here, we have 5x and 3x, which will make this a little bit more complicated as well. So this is my thinking, this is my writing and drawing. So we'll use the distributive law like we have before. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 6 becomes negative 12x. Negative 1 times x just becomes negative x. And negative 1 times negative 6 becomes positive 6, because a negative and a negative is a positive. And then we collect the like terms. Negative 12x minus an x is negative 13x. Students got to get a little bit confused here. Sometimes they'll go negative 12x minus x just becomes negative 12 because they think the x's cancel out. We've got to remember this is a 1x here. So if I have negative 12 x's and I take away one more x, I end up with negative 13 x's. For question B, again, distributive laws. First times first, 15x squared. Because 5 times 3 is 15. X times x is x squared. 5x times 7, again, plus 35x. Minus 2 times 3x, negative 6x. Minus 2 times positive 7, negative 14. Again, we group those like terms and we get positive 29x in the middle, so we get the whole equation being this. So worksheets, there's 2 worksheets. For the practice level students, you need to do at least the first worksheet. If you find it easy and need a bit of a challenge, you can go on to the second. Consolidating and masters should be able to complete both worksheets. For our reflection today, I want you to think how long multiplication, that's where we're multiplying 2 numbers with at least 2 place values like 72 and 38, is the same as doing 2 bracket distributive laws. And see if you can do an example of a two 2-digit numbers using that grid method and seeing how it is similar to that distributive laws.